out there. I got no gas money. Thank you for coming. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and two spirits. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. I want to first acknowledge the Toda Oda Hodum tribe, the Pascu Yaku tribe, and the Hokum, the Apache, and the Pima Nation, and the other nations I'm not able to mention tonight, and the Fox Tucson Theater, and the city of Tucson and the state of Arizona for allowing us to be here tonight in your guys' home, and being able to share these medicine stories with you all. Yeah. I want to highlight some things before we begin. There are two seats in this house that we would like to recognize. The first seat we want to recognize is for the missing and murdered Indigenous women and the MMIWP, missing and murdered Indigenous people. As you look to our left, that's why we have that seat left over with the red draped over. And we're going to bring out a medicine man, a coffee, to do an honor for them and to remember them. Harrison Jim Sr., United States Navy veteran vet from the Vietnam era, a part of the Navajo Nation Hatapi. Good.
Yatke iskhasim so shitay shitane den hano yahidi donna na hakil so den le ish kia ani bashishi tsanachini itashin she tot a itashin nalejine nave na jojo ko ye ada ko ya in hashandre ko khabasin so shitay. My name is Harrison Jim Sr. I'm of the Meadow People clan of Omport, the Towering House people. The Black String Horse people are both my maternal and paternal grandfathers. Appropriately, with respect, this is how we introduce ourselves. Every time we're among relatives of a legend vehicle. And that's the way my mother is, that's the way she taught me. Most of the teachings and most of the ceremonial ways, I was always encouraged, sometimes forced by my mother. But there's time that I wanted to play. But mom always said, let's go to the ceremonies. You need to learn these. So unfortunately, I lost my mother when I was 17 years old in a head-on collision with a drunk driver. So I understand about how people feel when they're women, they're missing murdered and missing Indigenous women. So there's a lot that I feel for the relatives in that fashion. I would say, Ebony Nago Paege, DJ Ken. Nehezani Dandline called the Hashmini Sabo called it the Street and Lin. I don't know he was neither than Lego Corden. I should to afford the kids, so there's a net idea of the kids and that does it and Lego Corden. And through this, hopefully, we'll become aware how important the women folk in our lives are. There's a beautiful song that came out of Canada. It's a theme song where we remember our women that are missing, our women that are murdered. Please bear with us while we have this beautiful song. Hey, hey, hey,
remember me when I
sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, there I will be. Soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me. Down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, 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 remember me, remember me. When the sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, there I will be. Soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me. Down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Hello, 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 remember me, remember me. When the sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, there I will be. Soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me. Down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, remember me, remember me. When the sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, there I will be. Soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me. Down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Hello, hello, hello.
At this time, we're going to do prayer for all the beautiful women. Those of you that are here, look to your right, you look to your left. The beautiful women that are in here are just the same as beautiful as ours out there, the ones that are missing, the ones that are murdered. So the ones that are still alive, I hope and we pray that they'll make their way from me. Let us pray. Aujourd'hui, dans sang chemin, il y a des choses c'est sang, tout sang, charge les cailloux cash. Cash one, not dance good, not dance so it. Kada date is key, and it's unlimited, yours go sound that play. Agent then get a code, they get a young home. The HA check and they will call the higher shit on this speed and then it would in code. Though better house than the Dunlin code, this time I live in offering of home hard with them. Konde wat edoleshi levo konde. Edishi konde eya eben awesome doleshi levo konde. So that they can be found konde and make their way home konde with edoleshi levo. The sadness and the tears that are in check with these women that are missing, with the ones that aren't buried konde at this time. We acknowledge the families konde that ask with edoleshi levo konde. Eben nachin levo konde with ago eya konde. Ask for them that your Jean d'audition de Gokond, the entire Abraham leading the Kond, Ebed ask for them better Chamanaka, Hojona Hatuti, Hojona stream, Hojona stream, Hojona stream, Hojona stream, Hojona stream. Thank you for your attention.
Now, for the second seat that we want to bring honor to is to my right. For all the fallen soldiers out there that never made a home. And for all the veterans out there that did make it home, but they took their own lives because they couldn't take it anymore. We understand there are elders in this room, so we understand if you can't stand, and you can't stand to physical limitations, but if you can stand, we ask you to stand as we play taps for our fallen soldiers, and we invite those spirits to come in here with us tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much for your guys' attention for those two seats. Okay. Next, I want to create an understanding of what you're about to see tonight. First, any English words that are being used tonight by our indigenous storytellers are being substituted for the indigenous language to create a better understanding and a bridge of communication for the people who do not speak that Native American language that will be spoken here tonight. An example of that word or term will be warrior society. You know, most people that hear that word tend to gravitate to the violent aspects that are associated and intertwined with that word. People sometimes forget to look at the word warrior society on a more holistic view. So, with that being said, the warrior society also means you must take care of yourself and the people around you in the warrior society and outside of that warrior society. You see, when a warrior is confronted with a battle, whether that be spiritual, internal, or external, or all three, it can create a ripple effect in the warrior society as a whole. It not only affects the warrior, but affects the family and community that they are in. You see, the warrior society, like anything else in life, there is good and bad, a balance. When the warrior society or the warrior individual comes back from a warrior mission, they can sometimes carry battle wounds that are more commonly referred to as PTSD, depression, anxiety, and loss of hope. The warrior society has recognized the bad things that come with being a warrior since the beginning of every warrior society's first warrior who is confronted spiritually, internally, and externally. Since then, the warrior society has always had ways of healing the warriors from their trauma and PTSD that they have experienced in their battles. For this show, we are using the term warrior for our Native American veterans. This show is going to show you a fuller aspect of what warrior society means and what it encompasses that goes further than the Hollywood Indigenous Warrior Veteran Society. This show goes further than what the VA and modern Western medicine has to offer for the warriors from the VA and modern where the VA and modern Western medicine has failed us. When they feel like there is no help in sight, when the pills are not working, when everything seems like it's not attainable, this show is going to show all of you, veteran or not, another avenue of healing from trauma and pain that will be shared in four unique, diverse ways told by our storytellers. I want to emphasize the many routes to healing and many healers that are out there. So I want all of you to pay attention to how diverse healing can be approached and give it through the stories told by tonight's Warrior Society. And I wanted to let it be known that these warrior stories are a small fraction of the Native American Veteran Society. In a report published by the U.S. Census Bureau, out of 19 million veterans, that is 6.5% of the total population, only 0.04% are Native Americans. But we are one of the largest demographics to take up arms and defend this country. So with that being said, we want to share with you guys a piece of our medicine, a piece of our healing. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, two spirits, I want to welcome the first storyteller that is being presented here tonight of that diverse 0.04% of Indigenous veterans. K.L. Hominy served 13 and a half years active duty in the United States Army, where she learned resilience and the power of mindset as a Native Hawaiian woman. She is guided by a deep commitment to community and collective healing. After surviving life-altering trauma, she chose to rebuild from within, confronting her own limiting beliefs and redefining strength on her terms. Today, she is a spiritual mentor, healer, and founder of Honest Healing, creating spaces where people come together to do their inner work. She believes transformation begins from within and it ripples outward into the collective. Ladies and gentlemen, from the United States Army, Keolani.
Wow, there's so many. Where I come from, I say aloha, and you're going to say aloha back. Can we do that? Aloha!
Aloha!
Aloha kakahiaka agako. My name is Kahealani Kahiapa. Currently, I am serving our Tucson community in... Oh, they came out. Oh. Don't worry, I'll explain later. It's okay. But currently I'm serving our Tucson community as a psychic medium and then chief operation officer at Spark Project Collective and Four of Wands. We are the world's first nonprofit tattoo, piercing, and metaphysical shop. And that sounds really cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not how it started. My journey here actually started a long time ago. And that's what I'd like to talk to you today about. You see, I joined the military when I was 19 years old. I joined because I needed structure. I joined because I needed purpose. And I needed a new path in life. Well, let me tell you, the military will give you all of that. And more. To add on a few little bit of layers of trauma. Trauma that I already had, more trauma that I got. Okay? And I don't say it in a bad way. I say it because it taught me. Everything was a lesson. You see, the military taught me how to cope with trauma. Lace up my boots, put the uniform on, pull my hair back, drink water, drive on. Oh, sorry. Got it. No problem. That was how you cope. And that works. That works when you're going from duty station to duty station. You're in no place longer than 18 months. It works when you're working 50 to 60-hour days. It works. It helps you. And that's okay. Right? The problem is that what happens at the end of our contract? We get out the military. And you see, when I got out the military, that's when the biggest mission of my life ever began. And it was my healing mission. is my healing mission because while I served our country, I did have a lot of different issues happen. I was assaulted. I was raped multiple times in different duty stations at different times in my career. I suffered a lot of physical injuries, to include getting hit by an afterblast that externally didn't take anything off, but internally had me in the hospital many, many years. And mentally, I suffered over 20 brain injuries. Traumatic brain injuries is what they call them now. Back then it was just a concussion, but had some pretty bad ones. And you see, through that, I lost myself because I didn't know what to do when I got out. Because when you get out, it's no longer be up at 5, be in formation 5:30. Go ahead and, say your song for the duty base that you're on. Pay respects to our flag, to our nation. Now it was just you and yourself. And when you get out the military, that's all you can think about. Oh, I can't wait to be done. But for me, I got out after 13 and a half years, and I had to sit with myself in silence. I was no longer in charge of soldiers, their homes, their lives, their families. Did you go to the doctor? Did you go to the dentist? Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good gig, but it's a lot. It's a lot sometimes. And I had to ask myself, how do I heal? I just got through all of this and I don't know what to do. And I did what they tell you to do. I went, got help. I went to the VA. I went to the outsources. I went to all the different resources. I went to inpatient, outpatient, therapy, group therapy, individual therapy, family therapy, all the different ones that they offer. And it's amazing. I went to meditation retreats. I went to hug a tree. All of it. But something was still missing and I couldn't understand what was missing. I did what they said. I was a good soldier. Well, here's the thing. I could not heal what I did not feel. And you see, what I mean by that is I grew up in Minnesota and Hawaii. My father is 100% Native Hawaiian. He is one of the last. My mother is from Bloomington, Minnesota. And with that, we weren't allowed to be accepted into the family. I'm what you call Hapa. I'm half Hawaiian and I'm half white. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with it, no. But there's a lot of things that happen with it. Because 70s, 80s, 90s, it's not what it was today. And me and my siblings, we did grow up with some colorful, I'll say, labels. Okay. So therefore, I never grew up with my heritage. And you see, as I was coming out the military and I was healing, I got hit with the question, who am I? Who am I? Oh, I'm a United States combat female vet. Who am I? I'm a mother. Who am I? I'm a daughter. Who am I? And I had to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. Because how do you claim a part of you if you can't feel it? And I didn't feel my heritage because I grew up without my heritage. So learning my heritage is what brought me to actually start to heal, because in my heritage, we have this wonderful healing practice called Ho'oponopono. And it's a beautiful healing practice. But I had to do it after everything the VA gave me. And it did make me frustrated. frustrated because I know I'm not the only Native Hawaiian that has served in the United States military. So, learning to digest that. I'm having nightmares at night. I'm having sweats. My body's convulsing because I don't know where all this energy, this anger, this hurt, because I'm being unseen and being unheard. But I didn't even know what I was being unseen and unheard about. It was within myself, and I had to learn that. And that's actually why I created my own practice of honest healing. And it's not because I know everything. It's not because I have it all figured out. It's because I know what it's like when you actually first give yourself a true chance to feel and be honest with your healing. You see, when I tell my story in the military, I can say all those little words or all these things I did. Maybe you should be so proud. Oh, I'm very proud. But I'm also saddened at the fact that I didn't have anyone to go to in my heritage. I didn't have a kumu. I didn't have a kapuna. I didn't have anyone that I could go to ask for help. To truly say, I don't know what's going on. What is this? So as I was going through my healing, I actually learned about mana. Mana is our energy. It's our life force. It is within you. It's not something you go find. It's not something you have to go work for. You have to go hike for. You have to earn enough money to have. It's here. Right here. Inside you. And I noticed as I healed, I was like, wow. I'm working on this mana thing, as I call it. Right? Because my mana was changing. Because my healing, I was able to feel. Right? And I needed to feel. I needed to take myself out in the public. You see, when I also got out the military, I didn't leave my house for 2 years. Kind of stayed a little dormant. I didn't like people. And everything was a struggle. All things were a struggle. To get up was a struggle. To shower was a struggle. And I got myself to a very, very dark place. And that place was suicide. Not just contemplating, not just planning, but attempting. Because that was the answer. But as I'm learning my mana, I'm seeing suicide was not my answer. It was not what I needed to do. I was losing my battles that I deployed with left and right. Out of my platoon my very first platoon that I reported to in June of 2005 at Fort Stewart, Georgia. My platoon, we had 30 people. We had 30 soldiers. I know of 10 that are still here. And I didn't want to make that platoon back to that. I didn't want to turn it into a squad. I didn't want to do that. So I was like, I'm going to heal not just for me, but I'm going to heal to show my brothers and sisters that it's possible. But I had to learn my way of healing. I had done all the stuff they told me to do, and it still wasn't working. So I went deeper. I went deeper inside myself. I went deeper into my roots, into my heritage. I went to the ocean. I cleansed myself with the ocean. I went and I drank my kava. I went and I learned my meditations. I sang. No song intended, but just sing the voice to have it heard. And that led me to my kuleana. My kuleana is my responsibility. But it's not just my responsibility to myself. It's my responsibility to my community. It's my responsibility to my child, to my future generations that come here year after year. And that's why now I say yes. Healing is hard. I may have learned how to survive really well. But healing, that'll really test your strength that you get from surviving. Okay? So if you guys are open to it, I'd like to try something with you real quick. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. I want you to think of a moment, think of a time in your life where you're having the hardest time. You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know which way you were going to go. I want you to think about that. Think about that moment just for a sec. You have it. What strength came from that moment? What strength did you learn about yourself? And now I want you to think further. What's underneath that strength that still needs to be seen? Let me open your eyes, and I thank you for doing that exercise with me. You see, healing is like an ocean. The ocean is so much, right? Covers all of our world. But the thing is, the ocean has its waves, has the currents, it has the tsunamis, it has the monsoon. There's so much what the ocean has, right? Just like your healing. Your healing has many different layers. You'll heal one part, be like, oh, yeah, I did it. And you'll be like, why is I seeing another wave? I don't like this. Guess what? You're going to learn that wave too. So there's a lot in the ocean. But that's why I believe the ocean is like our healing. It's because it's ever constant, right? Your currents are always going to be shifting. What you do, every layer has a reason. Okay. And here's the thing. Do you need to see healing to know that it happened? Anybody? Go ahead, raise your hand. Who thinks you need to see it? Right. You don't. Because healing is a personal journey, and healing is something that's between you, your creator, your son, wherever it may be, your belief. And your healing will never be like anyone else's healing. But it can be wisdom for those who are still trying to find healing. You see, when I was asked to do this, to stand up here on this stage, I said, thank you, but I don't know about that. And Montana, I throw him under a bus. He's like, no, I think you're just the right thing that people need to see. I say, why? He goes, you say it all the time, you don't know. You're learning. And that's exactly what healing is. You don't know what everything will look like at the end. But you know that the process is beautiful because you become better every day. The military taught me strength. My life after the military has taught me how to use it. My life after the military has taught me how to take all my trials and my tribulations and use it into something that is productive and positive. And what that does is it shows my child. It shows my child and her children one day that it's possible. You don't have to grow up around your heritage to learn it. You don't have to be accepted by family to practice it. You are worthy enough and you're allowed to do that. You see, the army is really funny in a way because they'll tell you we're all the same, we all bleed red, right? But then when you take off the uniform, you live in the barracks, you're going to be with a bunch of people that you don't know from all different types of cultures. So what did I do when I first stepped on the stage? I took off my shoes. Why did I take my shoes off? Because my people and my heritage, we never wore them. We didn't have them. We didn't do that. And that's something small, but it's something big for me to do. the military, I have many scars, have many traumas. But that is just a drop in my bucket for life. And so what I want to do now is take all my drops that I have from all my lessons that I learned and all the issues that I had. I want to show others how you can heal too. Healing is possible. So, okay, hold on, I'm going over time. You never know. I want to leave you guys with this. Healing is not linear. Okay? And just because it looks real calm on the outside, like an ocean and a sunset or a sunrise, doesn't mean that something's not happening underneath in the currents. So, please, when you do see someone of indigenous descent, have a conversation with them. Learn from them. Learn from them and see how maybe a misconception that has always been brought up on social media or the news or in Hollywood, how it can be corrected. I do not regret any of my years serving our country. And I'm very proud of it. But now that I'm changing, now that I'm growing, now that my mana is going to help impact others, because it's my kuleana, my responsibility for myself, for my community, and for the generations that are still yet to come. So with every step of awareness that you will choose to do, know that your awareness will strengthen 1, your resilience, 2, your perseverance, and 3, your own mana. And you can live in a life. You can live your life. You can see others live their lives with their kuleana, their responsibility here. I am so thankful to be here today, to share my story, to take my slippers out and to walk on this stage and say yes. My name is Kahealani Kahiapo, and I'm a United States Army combat vet. I've been injured in life, I've been injured in war, and now I'm coming home to help anyone else. What's the war you go through on a daily basis? You don't have to go to combat. Like Montana said, you don't have to be a veteran to be a warrior, but we're all warriors in our own right. But what are you doing every day for that? What will you leave behind? Who will you impact today? I thank you all for your time and your attention. I appreciate all of you. Mahalo nui loa until we meet again.
When we cut our hair has our 5 senses. And if you cut a piece of it off, you lose a small piece of that. You can't cut your hair. So they cut their hair in these boarding schools. They punished them if they spoke their language and they didn't speak English. They put the Bible in front of them so they could learn a religion and get away from their ceremonies and their traditions. And they did all of this to our children because now, in the future, our language is dying. Our hathis, our medicine men, they're passing over to the spirit world. And now who's going to carry this forward? All of that history. And then what happened during World War II? Our code talkers came into play. Our Navajo code talkers. Our Navajo language saved this country during World War II. And if you guys don't know about that history, I really, really encourage you to go look into it. Our Navajo language is what saved this country in World War II, and that's how we won the Battle of Iwo Jima. Before you guys came here today, you guys probably had no idea, right? All that had happened to us, all that was meant to banish us. But what happened? I'm still here today. My people are still back on the lands. I joined the military at 19 years old. I grew up on a small little piece of land. I didn't want to be that statistic. I didn't want to be that stereotype. So I went to the recruiter station and I told him that I need to go. I need to enlist. I did all of this stuff. And I did this all behind my family's back. I did not tell them anything. I did not tell them my plan to leave. Recruiter said, all right, we got to do your ASVAB. We got to do your physical test. We got to do all, make sure you make weight. And then I went to Albuquerque. I did everything. And then I raised my right hand. And then the recruiter said, you're leaving in 2 weeks. And then I thought in my head, okay, now what am I going to do? I got to go tell my mom. I got to tell my dad. And I got to tell my grandma. They started crying. They didn't want me to go. We didn't really watch the news on the reservation. So, I didn't know there was a war going on in Iraq. I went to basic training, right? I went from a 80% demographic of Native Americans in my high school, and I went to basic training, and I was the only Navajo woman in basic training. I didn't know how running water worked as much. I was still washing my face out of the sink, washing my hair out of the sink. They thought I was weird. But you know what? I looked back into my past. I looked back into my ancestors. I looked back into my grandma. I looked back into my grandpa, and I said, you know what? I am going to do good at this. I will be good at this. I'm going to be a role model for my future children. I am going to be that role model because you know what? I have a voice, and I'm going to use my voice. So I went from Fort Hood, Texas, got to Fort Hood, Texas. As soon as I got to Fort Hood, Texas, they said, don't get comfortable. You're leaving to Iraq in 3 months. I was introduced to alcohol at the age of 16 years old. When you join the military, for my veterans that are here, alcohol is your best friend. When you get in, it doesn't matter how old you are, right? So the alcohol addiction just deepened. It got worse. I went to Iraq. I served in Iraq, came back with, all of this not intact, all of this not intact. And I drove on. I wasn't going to be weak. I was not going to go to sick call. I was not going to get help with the therapist. I was not going to go to behavioral health. I was not going to be seen as weak in front of my shoulders. Still doing great on my weapons qualification. Still doing 300 plus on my PT. I was the fastest female runner for my whole brigade. I was getting promoted ahead of my peers. All of it. I was taking care of everybody but myself. I had my son when I was 22 years old. My son is now 19 years old. Time moves fast, right? I successfully served the Army for 10 years. I got an honorable discharge. And you know what? They gave me some classes before you get out. My veterans can attest to this too. They gave us some classes that was supposed to prepare you for a civilian world. I joined the Army as a child. I got out of the military as an adult. I had no time to enjoy being a civilian. I got out of the military and guess what? I walked out those doors and I said, now what? What do I do now? Oh yeah, I'll also over there. Let me go do that. Mentally, I was compromised. I came out of the military physically intact. But on the inside, I was not okay. I went back home, saw my family. Eventually ended up getting a divorce. The alcohol got worse. My son was taken away from me. I lived in a world of self-pity for a very long time. And it was my college professor at Cochise College that told me that was my comfort. She was the one that held my hand as I started my recovery journey. And when I started my recovery journey, I went to the VA. I got all the help that I can. I went back home. I went into ceremony. I heard my songs. If you guys heard the song before earlier about how MMIW, MMIP, that song, and if you felt this tingle on the inside, and if you guys felt this rush on the inside, which I know you did, that's what you feel all the time in ceremony. That is our healing right there. That is how we heal. And it's that powerful. We don't go to the therapist for our minds. We don't need anybody with a certification, with a degree. We don't need any of that stuff. What we need is the man that was standing right there, my grandpa, Harrison. He does all of the healing for us. And now, when I started my recovery journey, I wanted to give back. Now, my goal, my purpose in life is to serve others. I serve others. I still do the missing and murdered Indigenous people. I still buy the missing Natives in Phoenix. I buy them bus tickets to go back home, because in the Navajo way of life, in your belly button, when you're born, you have that small piece of the umbilical cord, right? When that falls off, you're supposed to bury it on your land, the place that you call home. That way, if you leave the land, no matter how far away you are and you get lost, you will find your way back. So I buy bus tickets, I buy plane tickets, it doesn't matter what it is, I get them home. I sit down and I talk to the people on the streets, and I hear their story and they hear my story. Because it took me 13 years to get to where I am. 16 years in addiction. It took me 13 years, and now I serve in a field to where I can be selfless. I serve in a field to where I can serve others. I serve in a field to where I am of service to the people that need it the most. And on this road of my recovery, I continue to do my ceremonies. I continue to pray. I continue to listen to the songs, and I continue to hear it get stronger and stronger and stronger. And to my kids over there, always remember that what your ancestors did for you to be here today, always remember the resilience and the perseverance and the strength that they had to do for you to be here today. Remember to serve a greater purpose in life, something above you. Remember our elder veterans that are on the Navajo Nation right now that have no access. We still have no access to water and electricity on the reservation. We have Navajo elder veterans out there that are stranded. When it snows, when it rains on the reservation, guess what? Those ambulances cannot get through the road. So they're stuck out there.
It was one of the worst places to live at that time, and I grew up right in that area, right? I was roaming those streets, being an adolescent, and so the military was a way out of that. So I took it. I joined, and I've always envisioned being in the military from my furthest memory. So it was a no-brainer for me to join. And I was very lucky because I got in when they allowed people with GEDs to get in. In 2000 was the last year they allowed people to join with the GED. And I got it. I had a high school diploma on the way, but I had a GED at the time, so I got it. And I went into the infantry. Real quick story. My recruiters were tankers, and the next day I went back, and there was a guy sitting there with the blue cord, with the EIB, with the Ranger tab. He had airborne, aerosol, pathfinder, and I'm looking at him and I'm looking at the other guys. I'm like, how come he's got more stuff on his uniform? And he's like, well, go ask him. So I went over there and asked him. He told me, and that's when I decided to go infantry. And I love shooting. I love hunting. So he said, man, if you become infantry, you get to shoot all these cool weapon systems. So I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. Anyways, but went infantry, and I don't regret any of it all. There was a lot of dark times in the military, a lot of racism that I dealt with, I was stationed in Germany, and that was a real huge culture shock for me. Being a res boy on the reservation and then being across the world in Germany. Oh my God, that was pretty tough the first couple of months until I ran into some other Navajos and other Native Americans, and then we started hanging out, and we started doing a lot of cool stuff. We played basketball. We started. One of the cool things that we used to do is we used to go into the sauna. We had a gym, and we used to heat up the sauna like a sweat lodge, and we would just sit in there, and other soldiers would come in. It'd be too hot for them, but yet there was like 6 of us natives sitting there singing songs. Anyways, but then that helped a lot, meeting those guys. So, that's kind of a brief history. Did that from 2000 2003, and I got demoted. I was going to re-enlist. We deployed to Kosovo in 2002, and I was really thinking about making this a career. I was thinking about it like, dang, this would be cool. I could do this, I could do that. But, of course, prior to going to Kosovo, me and a couple of guys, we got into a huge fight downtown Schweinfurt, Germany, where we thought we got away with it, but the new command came in, and then they prosecuted us. So the 3 of us got demoted, and I was like, man, I don't want to make greenbacks. So I said, I'm going to go home. I got out right before the war started in 2003. January 13th is when I was honorably discharged the first time. And I didn't know I was stop loss. But that whole 2002, I didn't go home. I didn't take leave. So when I came back, when I was done with Kosovo, I had like 68 days of terminal leave, which I turned all in, and it pushed my ETS date back to January, and I got out. And the war started, right? A lot of us thought the Iraq war was not going to happen. We thought Saddam was going to surrender and we weren't going to go, but he did it. And, everyone went in 2003. It was extremely tough for me to be at home watching the news, knowing that my battle buddies were there. During those 2.5 years that I wasn't, man, I almost re-enlisted twice. The first time, my family told me, they talked me out of it. The second time, at the time, I was with my oldest daughter's mom. She talked me out of not going. So, but at the same time, I was having dreams about being in the desert in war. So, man, it's kind of crazy looking back at it. And then, so right before. It was in 2005, Father's Day. I went home. I went home to see my dad, spend some time with them for Father's Day, and we just found out that my oldest, she was my wife, so she's my ex-wife. We found out she was pregnant with my oldest daughter, Altavia, and it was a really, really happy time for me because I always envisioned having a family, being married, and starting, a family. Just like how everyone does, right? But the Uncle Sam said, no, we need you back. Father's Day, I opened up a package from the United States Army, and it basically said, go to war or go to jail. It was a recall order. The Army wanted me back, and for Operation Iraqi Freedom. And I was shocked. I was really shocked because infantrymen come a dime a dozen, And I'm like, what? Are you serious? And I passed the letter around to my family because they didn't believe me. And everyone was sitting around. They're like, yeah, it's crazy. So what are you going to do, all right? And I'm like, I don't know, man. What do you guys think? I'm thinking Mexico or Canada. But honestly, I was like, heck yeah, let's do this. I was excited. I was I really enjoyed being a soldier, and I love what I did. And I was really good at what I did. I was motivated. When I was in, a lot of the my chain of command would always say, "Man, you would be a great drill sergeant and a great sergeant major," and I would laugh because and I just followed orders really well and did what I was supposed to do. My dad and my uncles taught me that, because you don't talk back to them. I was preconditioned for basic training and the military. My dad and my uncles were pretty. Yeah, we couldn't talk back to them, whatever they said to do. But so I get recalled, and it's a lot of from active duty world to reserve National Guard units. It's like active world, we constantly train all the time in the field. Boom, boom. We're really good at what we do. National Guard and reserve units, they don't train as much as we do. So there's a kind of a difference. So a lot of us that got recalled, we were all former active duty guys from throughout the infantry. We had guys from 82nd. We had guys from a couple of Rangers. I came from a mechanized unit. So when we got recalled, we all thought we were going to get back into active duty units, and that didn't happen. They gave us our orders, and it was to support National Guard units. A lot of the National Guard units were being activated to give the active duty units a break because they were being run to the ground. That's the reason why they recalled us. But when we found out, we were upset. We were pretty like, damn, National Guard units, because we know how, no disrespect to National Guard units and reserve units. But we ended up getting with them, and in the very beginning, it was extremely tough. I remember we got there first, and they showed up, and they get off the bus, and we see them, and a lot of them were, a lot of them were young, a lot of them were older, a lot of them were out of shape. And it was kind of shocking. But I'm going to tell you this. From the first time I saw those guys to the time I got blown up, they went from night and day. They were a well-oiled machine. They saved my life. And we all saved each other's lives. And I'm really grateful that I got to experience that, because there was a couple of guys that sectioned it out. They just said, they can't do this. I'm not going to go to war with these guys. And they opt out. But the guys that did stay, we ended up training them. We started training them on basic stuff, how to assemble a 50 cal, to land that, to setting up the radio systems, because we had a lot of time doing a lot of that, in the active world. So, and a lot of us felt that we really helped these guys out a lot, and we did. So, we go to Iraq, and, so the first time I went, when I joined in 2000, just like Jerry's story, my parents weren't too happy when I said I enlist. I remember the first time when I left home, when I went up to Montana for school, and I was 18, and I wanted to get out in the environment, and I signed up for this Job Corps, and I remember doing that. My little brother followed me, and when we came back to tell our parents, they said, "No, you guys are not going nowhere. You guys are staying here." But we ended up going, and we ended up completing it. A year later, I do the same thing. I go and I join the military without them knowing. And my dad was really upset because I just gotten back. And, to this day, I still think about it. He said, "There's a time where I'm going to have to let you boys go." And he said, "We're going to have a ceremony." And that's when a lot of there's a certain ceremonies that are done for us Navajos when we go to combat. My dad said, "These ceremonies were done for me, they were done for your uncles, and we all came back, and I want that done for you." And I'm like, "All right, let's go then." So we did it. It was funny. My Nolly man, my dad's dad came out, and he did it for us. And I always remember that cool story I always tell. So I was never, we never really were taught Navajo. So I didn't know too much Navajo. And part of the ceremony is you got to speak Navajo. You got to repeat what the medicine man says. And my Nolly man, I tried to do it the very first time and I couldn't do it. My gnawing man, my grandpa got mad at me and he was yelling at me. And then I turned around. I said, "It's those two." And I pointed to my dad and my uncle. And they didn't teach me. And then he turned around and he started yelling at them. I was like, yes. You know? Anyway, but I got that ceremony done. And man, that was a big, huge confidence booster, you know. I was given the bundle and all that cool stuff. I join. Nothing happened to me. I come back, you know. In return, basically the ceremony is they put an armor. They give you a shield. They give you the bow guard, the helmet, everything you need to go into battle. And that's how the prayer and songs are. So, and there's certain songs and prayers for that. And when they conducted that to me, I really felt like I was dressed up in armor. And so when I went, I was very confident. I think that's the reason why I did well in the military. And you know, going to Kosovo was a peacekeeping mission. It wasn't as bad as Iraq, but there was a few times where we got some mortars and small arms around the Serbia border. But came back from that, you know, fast forward 2.5 years later, I get recall. We redo the whole thing again. And I felt very confident because I went through it the first time, the first 3 years. This next 3 years, I was like, when they recalled us, it was only for 18 months. I'm like, yeah, 18 months, I can do that real easy. So when I went again, we did the ceremonies, everything. Boom, I get on the plane and end up in Fort Benning. And a couple of months later, I end up in Iraq with the Iowa National Guard unit. And it was different, way different. That's when IEDs were at the highest point and they were using a lot of snipers. So couldn't really see them coming, you know. A lot of times after an IED attack, they would shoot us with small arms fire. But a lot of times we would just shoot back, right? And no one asked questions, just shoot back. And so when I went back, I had, just like Jerry, I had the medicine bundle in my Tridine bag with me. And I was afraid, but I didn't show it. And a lot of the guys I served with, they were like, "Man, you're like a real Indian, man. You're not afraid," you know. But I was like, man, I was scared. Believe me, I was scared. But having those things, man, it really, and the songs and the prayers, man, it really gave me a huge confidence booster. And so, you know, just in the process of that, my knowing man told me that how to pray, how to bless the vehicle, the gun truck that we were in. So every time I'd go on a mission, I would do that. And a lot of these guys, I was the only Native American. And, you know, of course, you know, Iowa, there's nothing but non-Navajos. You know? So they started to believe in it. Like, literally, man, it was like every time we go on a mission, they'd be like, "Hey, Bill," they called me Bill because of my last name, Bill. And "Hey, you have your medicine bundle?" And I'm like, "I never leave home without it." They're like, "Oh, yeah, we're good." And they would just deflate and relax. And yeah, we're good. And then when they used to put out the manifest, and if I was in their vehicle, they were like, "Heck yeah, we're good," you know. And then we would go, and then they like a lot of IEDs were going off, but nothing was direct. Our vehicle never got hit. You know, we never were for that whole time, man. And these guys were like, they really believed in it. And every time and eventually I was trying, you know, a lot of the guys, they would tell me to bless their vehicle. Like, "Hey, bless my vehicle, bless my vehicle." I'm like, "No, man, bless her." You know, like, anyways, I was kind of mean. I was like, you know, I had fun with those guys, man. Those guys were some really great friends, man. Oh my God, really good battle buddies. The camaraderie and combat, man. The bond that we have, man, that will never be broken, man. Those guys are my brothers, man. No matter what, man, we've been through a lot. So, you know, we finish up. Before we were sent to the Iowa National Guard unit, Hurricane Katrina happened. 2005, August, they sent us from Fort Benning all the way to Camp Shelby, Mississippi, a day before Hurricane Katrina came. And man, Hurricane Katrina came, and that was traumatic. I'm from the Southwest, we have monsoons, and but man, this hurricane came, and it wiped everything out. Man, it was devastating. We had no power, no water for like a month, and anyway, so that pushed it messed up our timeline for that 18 months. So when we went to Iraq, we were going to be leaving a couple of months before those guys, because of that 18 months, that recall order. So we were only going to be there for 10 months, and we that's exactly what happened. But right before that 10 months was up, our very last mission, they told us, this is you guys' very last mission. I think there was like 13 of us recalls that were in that unit. This is your last mission. After this, you guys are going to turn all your stuff in, and you guys get to go home. So we're like, heck yeah, let's do this. So we all went out and we completed that mission. I almost got blown up, man. They almost got me. The day before, 2 days before I got blown up, we were on our way back from Chaville, Jordan, and the Marines were out in front of us. The EOD team, they just got done cleaning up an IED they found. So they were out in front of us, and we were following them. And one of the Marine vehicles got hit with an IED, and we stopped and we set up a checkpoint. And we were parked there, and I almost got out of the gun truck. And then Sergeant Peterson's like, man, you don't always have to get out there, Elroy. You don't always have to be part of it. Because that was me. I was always in the mix, man. Wherever, whatever we were doing, I would get out there and set up, pull security, or I was proactive. And he told me, he's like, this is your last mission. Just chill out. So I closed the door, and I said, all right, you're right. And so we were just watching, and right where we were parked, we let all the vehicles go through. We backed up, I think like 100 yards, and then another Marine patrol came through because we were waiting for our main elements. They were back like about a mile. We were waiting for them, and the Marines came through. Right where we were parked, another IED went off. Boom! And nothing happened to the Marines or that vehicle. They drove through it, and every one of my vehicle and every one of my patrol were freaking out. Like, damn, you were just parked there. Like, if you would have walked out, they would have detonated. And man, I was like, shoot, man, I didn't get out of the Humvee after that whole mission, man. I just stayed there. We get back and we celebrate. Man, we're going home. We're going home. And we were happy, like, heck yeah. And we put all our stuff away. We put all our equipment away. And we're like getting ready to, we're done. Mission accomplished, right? And then the manifest came out, and for the next patrol for the next day. And out of all the IR guys, 3 of us were put on there. And our platoon sergeant or LT, they personally came to us and told us, like, hey man, need you guys for one more. We need you guys for one more. Man, we were pissed. It was me, Gainey, and what else was it? I can't remember the third guy. But we were really, Brian Johnson. We were pretty pissed. Like, man, you got the whole platoon here, man. Like, come on, man. He's like, no, we need you for one more. And I remember I was really upset. And then Gainey's like, hey, man, it really sucks to be dependable. And I was like, all right, let's go then. So put our gear together, and I had my medicine bundle, my totidine pouch, and my medicine bundle went missing. It was gone. We didn't know. To this day, I don't know where it went. And I'm looking around for it. Because I'm packing my day pack and all that. And man, there's nowhere to be found. And I'm looking around for it. One of my battle buddies like, what are you looking for? And I didn't want to tell them because they believed in it. They truly believed in that. And then And he's like, what are you looking for? Because and I told him, hey, I lost my medicine bundle. He's like, what? And so we were all looking for it. Eventually, half the platoon was looking for it, and we couldn't find it. And these guys really believed in it, man. They really, and I believed in it. So when we went out that day, went out with just my Teddy bag, and about later on that afternoon, I got hit with an IED roadside bomb. Blew up right underneath me. I was the truck commander at the time, but we rotated around, and I was the driver. And that was 2006, November 9th. Got my arm blown off. Oh man, that was a rough day. It was a really rough day. I remember everything so vividly. I died twice that day. They had a hard time stopping the bleeding. And just the IV, thank God that they got the IV in me, and the medic came and gave me, it took like 30 minutes for the medic to come and give me morphine. While I was laying there in that battlefield, I had an outer body experience where, I went into really severe shock, and I just, my battle buddies say I died, but I blacked out, and I had a vision of my body, my soul leaving my body, and I saw everything. I saw everything so vividly, and it went from that to a slideshow of my whole life, and then it stopped at my funeral.
Tis like we can, tis like we jod, tis like it's easy, softly a nay, jay, hot bed, so say, someone on power, Baker was your name, Ashim the Shin, go up and Shana, Redna, Shana, Redna, Shana, Redna, Shana, Redna, Shahay, Redna, Shahay, Aujourd'hui, l'ensemble sur ma vie de ce travail. Ze san twistan chashish was kash. Kash yaski, kash chewa, natal kishki, natal sude, Kadabin, Ishki, Instandi, Yoshke, San Huntley, Jola, Igana, Sisna, Jim, Social, Oslid, Benson, Sisna, District, Olimi. Cordy and the Danani Kalmi, Cordy, way me to needs and usually cordy. In the other international Indians, a large sort and lady ash and now leading cordy. They just hear that it don't have Christian, that it don't have that it and legal cordy. It seems that lady ask cordy what I go his ego. Cordy not need this such than he this lead or leisure cordy. The hinder the conditions needs is not condition usually cordy. You had ever cordy, they gave it indeed leisure cordy. You had cannot need or need to live. I don't ever so usually he don't need to leisure cordy. Demon young cordy job, demon and young cordy and car with the Lord sanctions and the young cordy job, demon and young cordy. But not no cordy arts with their age of Jundulation audition. Amy was not the case. Was your last clean? Was your last clean? Was your last clean? Was your last clean?
Ladies and gentlemen of the spirits in the house tonight, and all our fellow veterans who are here, I want to say thank you so much for coming to the 2026 Fox Tucson Warrior Society.
Current wearing victory's crown, through lightning, through silence, through every goodbye. I keep on ascending till the day that